Hello there. Our final PowerPoint video presentation for this module is on the topic anaerobic respiration. You say, well, what's this diagram here, Professor? We looked at it before. This is not anaerobic respiration. This is a diagram of aerobic respiration. Plenty of oxygen available. We're sitting here now, you and I, sucking in, plenty of oxygen available, but if you decide to go out and run a 5K or a 10K or half marathon, you might be sucking, but you may not be able to process oxygen very well, and you may not be able to get enough oxygen to your cells and for all this to take place. And so if there's insufficient oxygen, you just can't suck it down fast enough to get it to your mitochondria, the electron transport chain bogs down, and there's a bunch of interconnections between Krebs and electron transport chain. So when there's insufficient oxygen, so does the Krebs cycle bog down. And so what happens as you get into severe anaerobic respiration, you're pushing at least your muscle cells towards glycolysis only. The mitochondria shut down, and that represents an energy crisis. 2 ATPs from a glucose molecule, 2 ATPs charged up, as opposed to 36 ATPs charged up when oxygen is available. Let's take this picture a little farther. Here's a picture from your book. Starts with glucose. This at the top represents the same thing as this. A glucose molecule is processed. We don't need to know all those steps. The end product is something called pyruvic acid. One glucose molecule results in the production of 2 pyruvic acid molecules. You see 2 ATPs being used up, 4 being produced, a net of 2 ATP molecules charged up and in glycolysis. But what happens to the pyruvic acid molecules? Well, if there's plenty of oxygen, the pyruvic acid molecules enter the mitochondria for ongoing processing. ATP is charged up, 36 ATPs charged up from one glucose molecule, and we got plenty of energy to do what we want to do. But what happens in anaerobic respiration when the mitochondria are shut down, or pretty much shut down? Pyruvic acid cannot get in, it's not drawn in to the into the mitochondria, so it sits there. No, it doesn't. It doesn't just sit there, it actually is taken off into alternate metabolic pathways. And so if you're in the animal kingdom, that alternate metabolic pathway will lead to the production of something called lactic acid. It makes the muscles burn when we're out there overexerting ourselves and not getting sufficient oxygen to our cells. So pyruvic acid, if the mitochondria are shut down, pyruvic acid, it heads off other enzymes, other pathways, producing lactic acid. Now, if you're a little organism called yeast, yeast are manipulated big time by people anaerobically. Now, can yeast do all of this? Let's go back. Can yeast do all of this? Can yeast do aerobic respiration? Sure. If there's plenty of oxygen available, yeast happily do the whole bit. But in two major industries, yeast is deprived of oxygen, and so again, when yeast is deprived of oxygen, the pyruvic acid is not drawn into the mitochondria, which are shut down. The pyruvic acid goes off into alternate metabolic pathways, and what is produced? Well, alcoholic beverages. There are two products to this process. The pyruvic acid, instead of going in for processing the mitochondria, they go off in alternate metabolic pathways and produce carbon dioxide and alcohol. All right, and so anaerobic respiration, mitochondria shut down, pyruvic acid is still produced, glycolysis is functioning, the mitochondria shut down. The pyruvic acid, instead of entering the mitochondria, the pyruvic acid molecules go off in alternate metabolic pathways, producing one thing in the animal kingdom, another thing if you're a yeast, and so there you have it. All right.